Forgotten, The Frozen North, Chapter 21, Final Chapter. Sunny took a slow, relaxed breath, sitting back against one of the many crates that had been loaded up into the back of the Scouticus Maximus. With everything that they had brought back from their 3 days in the Crystal Empire, there wasn't much room to stretch out in the bed. Pip and Zip were in the back with her, with Sprout driving them on one of the final stretches back towards Maritime Bay, and Hitch and Izzy kept him company. They were currently passing just west of the forest, which contained Princess Twilight's castle, below Zephyr Heights. It was breezy, but otherwise quite welcome mild weather, after the time spent up north. Sunny could almost fall asleep if it wasn't for the engine noise.
Come on,
Pip said, constantly staring down at her phone.
You're impossible, sis.
Zip commented with a chuckle. She also leaned against another crate containing stacks upon stacks of books. It was clear they were going to have to make another trip or two back north for just books. They had barely made a dent in the library, and that wasn't even counting the castle library they had also come across. Without a doubt, ancient reading material was going to account for more than 90% of what they were going to eventually take out of the remains of the Crystal Empire. That was fine by Sunny. She would have to assemble a team to catalog and republish the contents of an entire library. That was absolutely no small feat. They even got a fair condition set of Crystal Empire guard armor for the museum. She hadn't made up her mind if she would personally make return trips to the Empire, but even if she didn't and stayed exclusively at the museum, there was enough work on this trip to keep her busy for weeks. More trips would turn that into months.
Finally!
Pip exclaimed triumphantly, seeing a single bar pop up on her signal strength. A moment later, it nearly fell out of her hoof as it began to vibrate and ping with over a week's worth of alerts. No doubt comments and subscription alerts from her countless fans. To her surprise, Sunny heard her phone begin to vibrate and ping in her saddlebag just as frequently as Pip's.
Who could be messaging me this much?
The ponies that she kept in touch with the most were here in the Scouticus with her. She dug into her bags and pulled out her phone, swiping through the lock screen and looked at the dozen texts that had just come in over the last
6 hours?
Sunny began to open them. They were from
Thunder and Queen Haven?
Sunny asked, also noticing that she got a voicemail. She opened the message and put it on speaker.
Miss Star Scout, something came out of the castle!
Came the voice of Thunder, one of the Zephyr Heights royal guards who had been assigned to keep watch over the remains of the castle. He sounded borderline panicked and struggling to speak calmly, sounding like he was at a full gallop.
A unicorn! We asked why she was trespassing the castle, and she took off. She's heading up towards Zephyr Heights. She's teleporting all over the place and we're having trouble keeping track of her. Please tell me you're getting this. How would some pony get into the castle?
Pip asked, knowing that there were plenty of guards down there to keep an eye on every angle of the structure.
There's not much left in there.
Sunny commented, looking at the time the voicemail was sent, which was about 6 hours ago.
What would they be doing in there?
Sunny's and Pip's eyes widened in shock at the same time.
Unless...
Their eyes met.
The mirror!
They both exclaimed. Sunny shot to her hooves and scrambled over to the hatch on the roof of the cabin, yanking it open.
Sprout!
She shouted down, startling all 3 ponies in there, and Sprout hit the brakes.
Turn around! Turn around! Head towards Zephyr Heights!
She said frantically.
Are you crazy? I can't squeeze this thing through a forest that thick!
Sprout objected. The river. This thing can traverse the river, right? Take it up to the mountain ascent, and we can take the new road from there. Hitch immediately countered. Sprout yanked the steering lever all the way to the left and turned around, heading back towards the river, and they were underneath the forest canopy within minutes. Unfortunately, Pip had waited that long to try and call her mom and let her know that they were on her way.
Oh, horse feathers!
Pip said, hanging up her phone when she realized the forest was stopping any calls from getting up to the mountain. Sunny's mind was moving a million miles a minute, wondering who could have possibly come through the mirror. The constant splashing and sloshing of water on the vehicle's 8 tires wasn't helping her thought process much. 15 minutes later, they had come to the bottom waterfall and turned off onto the road.
So what now? The road up to Zephyr Heights was built for carriages, not something like this. And if we come to an impasse, I promise you we cannot turn this thing around up there.
Sprout cautioned.
Wait here.
Zip said.
You aren't afraid of heights, are you, Sunny?
Sunny shook her head as Pip immediately realized what her sister was suggesting. They put Sunny's phone back into her saddlebags for her, then put each of her front hooves around their shoulders as they pulled the Earthmare into the air, ignoring the road entirely and instead directly ascended up the mountain face towards the edge of Zephyr Heights. It was a slow 10-minute flight, but they managed it without incident, and came up to the closest street and set her down safely. They set off for the castle at a full gallop, getting onto the elevator and riding it to the top. The door opened and they resumed their gallop, only to screech to a halt when a pair of alerted guards brought their spears to bear.
Whoa, whoa!
Zip said, just as the guards recognized who the ponies were. Apologies, your highnesses, the sergeant immediately said. The platoon has been on edge ever since that unicorn came rushing through. A pair of guards accompanied them at a healthy trot as they continued up the main walk to the castle. To say we weren't really prepared for something like that would be an understatement. The second we got a fix on her, she'd blink out of somewhere dozens of feet away.
Did she hurt anyone?
Zip asked. No, your highness. Made it all the way to the throne room before her horn finally ran out of juice. Queen Haven took her to the dungeon, and to my knowledge, she's been trying to get a hold of you ever since.
We just got back into signal range. We've been up north.
Zip told the guard as she dug out her phone, speed dialing her mom.
Mom? Yeah, Pip and I are here at the castle with Sunny. Coming into the front. Meet us en route to the holding cells?
The call was short because Queen Haven offered a short reply, and Zip hung up as they came into the castle proper. 2 minutes later, Queen Haven met them around the third corner, and the two guards bowed, and Haven nearly ignored them.
Oh, thank goodness, Sunny. I really hope you have some answers. For me, and for her.
Haven told her, as they turned and headed for the basement and the dungeon.
Believe me, I hope so too.
Sunny replied.
She seemed panicked, maybe even scared. We've been trying to assure her that we were frantically trying to get in touch with the one pony who could possibly tell her what she wanted. And in turn, she said that she wouldn't talk to any pony except a Princess Twilight or Princess Celestia.
One flight of stairs later, they came back down to what was probably the most luxurious dungeon Sunny had ever seen or been in. They came to the closed bars, and there she was, an amber unicorn sitting in front of the window overlooking the skyline. Her mane and tail were a vivid crimson with bright yellow stripes.
Excuse me, miss?
Queen Haven announced their presence.
This is the mare I've been saying could help you.
The queen motioned to Sunny as the earth mare took a step towards the bars and Zip and Pip looked on. As she turned away from the window towards them, Sunny saw her horn, almost a pearl white, and her moderate cyan eyes were full of uncertainty and worry.
I was quite clear. I wanted to talk to Princess Twilight or Princess Celestia,
she said after taking a breath, walking towards the bars towards her visitors. Her expression softened considerably when she saw the six-pointed star on Sunny's wooden pendant around her neck.
But I'll make an exception for that.
Sunny glanced down at her pendant when the unicorn pointed at it.
So, where are Princesses Twilight and Celestia? Why is Canterlot full of Pegasi? Why does the city look so different?
The unicorn asked. Her tone could be construed as accusatory. Sunny took a deep breath and looked at the unicorn directly in the eyes.
Alright, there's no easy way to say this, so I'll just be as direct as I can. To the few of us who know those names, they're ancient history. They're long gone, and I'm afraid I can't tell you how much time has passed because I honestly don't know.
The unicorn's eyes widened as she drew in a shaky breath.
They said that you came out of the castle.
Sunny continued.
Did you come out of the mirror that we found in there? The portal?
Sunny asked, and the look of surprise stayed glued onto the unicorn's face.
How could you possibly know about that?
The unicorn asked, bewildered. Sunny dug into her saddlebags and pulled out her book containing the images from the memory gems. She flipped almost halfway through the book before coming to what she was looking for, then turned it towards the unicorn, showing her a picture of Twilight Castle in pristine condition.
My name is Sunny Starscout. My father and I have devoted our lives to learning as much as we can about ancient Equestria, and about Princess Twilight and her friends.
The unicorn's breaths started to become shorter. She took a single step back before collapsing into a sitting position. Sunny saw her eyes tear up, and she motioned for Zip to hit the door release. Zip got a nod of permission from her mom and tapped the release, and the bars slid into their retracted states. Sunny slowly and calmly stepped into the cell as the unicorn began to softly weep.
Sunny. That's my name. Sunny Starscout. What's yours?
She asked her as calmly as she could. She had a feeling that deep inside, this unicorn's entire world had just collapsed. The unicorn took in a deep breath, made no move to get up, but wiped her eyes, looking into Sunny's emerald green eyes.
Sunset Shimmer.
Sunny smiled softly at her and offered her a hoof.
Sunset Shimmer? I have a feeling that there is so much that we can learn from each other.
A rude awakening like that would freak out almost anyone. Props to her for controlling herself on that, but man, what a welcome back that was. Anyways, let's get on to our stylish donators. Top donators are 630, J10 Man, Only One Thing, Ceru, Orion, and IronSky. Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin, Rolan, Stu Hex, Sword Brother and Mordred, Omicron, Lyrae, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Rizel, Badass Waffle, Shadow Moon, Luigi88, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.